She shouted, "Stop being so needy. We don't have to chat every day." I responded, "You're right. I'm sorry." Then I gave her the silence she requested. It only became an issue for her when the car insurance, phone bill, and rent, all covered by me, went silent as well. I've always believed that in a serious relationship, you should act as a team. You support one another. If you can pay for dinner, you do. If you can handle the major expenses to ease life for both, you just take care of it. I never viewed it as keeping score. I thought it was simply being a good partner. My ex-girlfriend Maya eventually saw it differently. She termed it the bare minimum. Let me give you a brief overview. I'm a 31-year-old male, a senior account executive in tech sales. I do well. It's a high-pressure job, but the compensation is good, and I'm skilled at it. Maya, 28, and I were together for 4 years. When we first met, she was stuck in a draining retail management job. Her goal was to become a freelance graphic designer. She had talent, but was afraid to take the plunge. About a year into our relationship, I encouraged her to go for it. I told her to quit her job. I would handle the rent and bills. She could take 6 months or a year to build her client base without worrying about money. Just focus on her dream. She was so thankful she cried. For a while, everything was great. I was pleased to be the one providing that safety net. I paid the rent for our nice apartment and added her to my phone plan to save her a monthly fee. She needed a dependable car to meet potential clients, so I purchased her a nice certified pre-owned SUV with the title in her name. I intended for it to be hers, but I covered the monthly payments and put the insurance on my policy for a better rate. To me, I wasn't just paying bills. I was investing in her and our relationship. The issue was that her freelance career never really took off. It remained in a constant state of being just started. Her daily routine became a stereotype of the influencer lifestyle: 10 a.m. yoga classes, brunches with friends, afternoon shopping, and maybe, if inspiration struck, an hour or two on Pinterest. I would return home from a tiring 10-hour day of sales calls to find her worn out from what looked suspiciously like a nap disguised as a brainstorming session. Her gratitude gradually turned into expectation. 2 years ago, I financed a week-long trip to Mexico for us at a beautiful all-inclusive resort. On the second day, she spent the afternoon sulking because her friend's boyfriend had taken her to a more luxurious place the month before. "It's just a different level of luxury," she sighed, scrolling through her friend's Instagram. I was sitting on a perfect beach, drinking a margarita that I had paid for, and feeling inadequate. This leads us to the beginning of the end. Over the past 6 months, she started to pull away. She began hanging out with a new group of friends, all fiercely independent and promoting self-focus. They preached about not letting a man dim your shine. Suddenly, the partnership I was funding felt like a cage holding her back. Communication slowed. When she was out with her friends, I wouldn't hear from her for hours. A simple "Hey, how's your night?" text would receive a short, cold reply much later. I tried discussing it with her, mentioning that I felt we were growing apart. That's when she hit me with a line that triggered everything. We were in the kitchen. I was cooking dinner, and she was on her phone as usual. I asked if she was looking forward to the weekend, hoping for a quiet night in. She didn't even glance up from her screen. "Ben, stop being so needy. You're suffocating me. We don't need to talk every day. We shouldn't be attached at the hip. I need space." Needy. I was working 50 hours a week to pay for the apartment she lived in, the car she drove, and the phone she was ignoring me on. My reward was being labeled needy for wanting to converse with my own girlfriend. A light switched on in my mind. It wasn't a conscious plan for revenge. It was a moment of clear realization. The guy she deemed needy was the same one funding her carefree, independent lifestyle. Her wish for emotional distance contradicted her financial dependence, and she couldn't see the double standard. I didn't raise my voice or argue. I simply turned off the stove and said in a flat tone, "You're right. My apologies." She finally looked up, taken aback by my calm agreement. "Oh, okay. Well, thanks for understanding." She thought she had triumphed, unaware that I wasn't just agreeing to give her emotional space. I was giving her all the space. The next morning, I began the process of disentangling our lives. It felt like a covert operation. I started with the phone, calling our mobile provider, a company where I had a generous corporate discount. I explained that I needed to change my family plan and remove a line, her line. I had them transfer her number to a new prepaid account with a $20 starting balance and sent the account details and activation info to her email. Phase 1 was complete. Next was the car insurance. One call was all it took. Hi, I'd like to cancel the policy for the vehicle with license plate XYZ. The agent confirmed the policy was terminated immediately. Phase 2 was done. Finally, the rent, the big one. Our rent was automatically deducted from my main checking account on the first of the month. I logged into the apartment's online portal, something she had probably never seen, and deleted the autopay schedule. It was now set for manual payment. Phase 3 was ready. For the next few days, I gave her exactly what she wanted: silence. I stopped sending morning texts and didn't call her on my way home. When we were in the apartment together, I remained polite but distant. I became a ghost in the home I financed. She thrived in her newfound freedom from her clingy boyfriend, completely oblivious to the fact that her entire life was quietly being dismantled. The first domino fell 4 days later. She was in the living room trying to FaceTime a friend, but her phone couldn't connect to the network. She attempted to make a call, and it went straight to an automated message. Checking her email, I watched her expression shift from confusion to fury. "Ben," she yelled, "what happened to my phone? It's saying my plan has been canceled." I turned in my chair. "Oh, that. Yeah, I removed your line from my plan this week. A shared family plan felt a bit needy, you know? It seemed contradictory to the space you wanted. I moved your number to a prepaid plan for more independence. The login info should be in your email." She stared at me, speechless. Before she could respond, I put on my headphones and resumed working. The second domino fell the following week on a Tuesday night. There was a knock at the door. My heart raced initially, but then I noticed Maya's car parked awkwardly outside and a tow truck arriving. The officer explained he had pulled her over for an illegal U-turn, and when he ran her plates, he found out the vehicle had no active insurance. Maya stormed into the apartment behind him, her face flushed with anger and embarrassment, holding a massive ticket. "My car has no insurance," she shouted at me in front of the officer. I could have been arrested. "They're impounding the car." I looked at the officer, then back at her. "That's correct," I replied calmly. "I canceled the insurance policy on that vehicle last week. Covering the insurance for someone who needs space seemed like a financial overstep. I assumed you'd prefer to manage your own policy. It's your car, after all." The officer raised his eyebrows, handed her another ticket for driving without insurance, and left. She spent the rest of the night yelling at me, while I enjoyed a documentary on World War II. The final domino, the significant one, fell on the first of the month. She had been giving me the silent treatment for a week, which was, frankly, a relief. Around noon, she received an email. I knew because I got one, too. The subject line read in bold red letters: "Rent payment overdue. Action required." This was the breaking point for her. This wasn't just a ticket or a phone bill. This was eviction territory. She burst into my home office, her face pale. "The rent," she whispered, trembling. "You didn't pay the rent." "That's not true," I replied, turning to face her. "I paid my half this morning, but our joint autopay is no longer active. Your share is now overdue." "My half? I can't afford half the rent," she cried. "You know that you've always covered it." I leaned back in my chair. Yes, I did. And in return, I was in a committed, loving relationship with a partner who at least pretended to enjoy talking to me every day. You ended that arrangement. You wanted space. You wanted to not feel suffocated. Well, I'm not sure what's more suffocating than having your rent, car, and phone paid for by the clingy guy you want space from. So I did you a favor. I removed myself from your finances completely. You're free now. Independent, no strings attached. Isn't that what you wanted? The story concludes pretty much as you'd expect. She had a complete meltdown. She couldn't pay the rent. She couldn't retrieve her car from impound. Her phone only functioned on Wi-Fi. Her entire comfortable, subsidized life was built on the very clinginess she loathed. And I had just pulled the rug out from under her. I moved out a month later, tired of the toxic atmosphere. I left her to deal with the angry landlord and the eviction notice that eventually arrived. Last I heard, she had to move back in with her parents, driving her mom's old minivan because her license was suspended due to the uninsured ticket. I suppose she finally got all the space she ever wanted, which ultimately looked a lot like her childhood.